Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Championship Leadership. We got Zachary Babcock here. From 5 years in prison to a six-figure business. He's also the leader and the host of the Underdog Empowerment podcast, and he's helped me out a ton as of recently as well with moving and shifting and promoting and just building my podcast as well. And that's something that he specializes in. So just appreciate you taking the time to be here with me, man. Thank you.
Dude, Nate, what's going on, man? I'm excited to be here, excited to jam with you.
Yeah, bro. So I've been listening to your podcast, of course, and you've been helping me build mine up here recently. And so I'm glad we're here to have some time together. But really, first question I always love to ask before we get in too deep to all the other stuff is championship leadership. Like, what comes to mind for you when you hear that, man?
Championship leadership, man. So what comes to mind for me right off the top of head is like, what does it mean to be a champion leader? And you're not really, and this is how I define a leader. A leader is not a leader until you can lead others to become leaders that can lead other people, which I know that's like a tongue twister, but that's what a real leader is, though, right? You know, you're leading by doing it, obviously, and then you teach other people how to do what you're doing in the process, which trickles down.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit, from 5 years of prison, like bring me back a little bit. Like, how did you get to where you are today? What's the story a little bit for the listeners? Cause it's an incredible story.
Right on, man. Yeah, I'll keep it super short. And if we want to go deeper, that's always cool too. I just like to respect, to have a real conversation, but,
Absolutely.
yeah, I was an idiot, man. And I didn't have anything that was driving me in life, no chief aim, and made a bunch of poor decisions as a result. Did a bunch of time, went through a lot of crazy stuff, man. But it was when I went back to prison. I did 4 years flat, got out for about 2 years, and I was working at this job that, I got into a sales job, got promoted 2 days in, and I was like, yes, I'm finally, putting this lifestyle behind me. Because I sold more than anybody else on the entire team, and then killed it. But then 2 days later, like, yeah, you're a convicted felon, you got to kick rocks. And
no way.
Yeah, and so instead of just being a champion and pushing on, I just decided to throw a pity party, and I went back to prison for DWI, and that was 20 days before my twin sons were born.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude, the hardest, most worst feeling that I could ever feel in the world that I've ever felt in my life. But it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because it snapped me back to reality, man. And ever since then, been moving in a completely different direction.
Yeah. So, you appreciate you sharing that. And I would like to think that maybe you didn't need that second time around back to prison, but it sounds like maybe kind of you did, right? Like it's definitely what catapulted you getting out to be like, hey man, no more.
Right.
Like it's time to go to work. What was that process like coming back in, building, like you said, man, this year, even I know I've seen you talk about it a lot. We talked about it on your podcast a little bit. Just 8 months ago, you were struggling, you were broke, and in that is a short time. And it's all the work that you were doing before that, of course, as well. Right. The things that were getting there, but to create that six-figure business in that short 8 months here this year, like what's that path been like? Because there's a lot of people that I think they give up a little too short, right? They put in the work, they put in the time, they're not getting the results, and then all of a sudden they quit. Champions don't quit for sure. Like, man, they lose the big game, and it just drives them to come back even bigger and better the next year, right? The next time. So yeah, maybe 100%. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't agree with you more, dude. Yeah, man, dude, I got out and wanted to be I just wanted to be happy and successful. Didn't even know what that looked like, and to be in my kid's life. Couldn't get a job anywhere. Got into network marketing. Didn't even know what it was at the time. You couldn't scare me off with the word pyramid scheme, bro. But I did that for about 2 years. I'm grateful for the industry though, man, because I was able to build a $2,000 a month residual income within my first 6 months. But it taught me a lot of things, man. It was like a college for entrepreneurship almost. But it just wasn't my thing, and I moved on. I just couldn't jam with it anymore. and then I got into what I'm doing now in the beginning of 2017. I had no idea how to start this business or what to do. I just knew what I wanted. And I learned a lot of valuable lessons in the process. I learned one of the main ones was that, you can't act further along than what you really are and, take pictures in front of red Lamborghinis and act like you can deliver a specific benefit to people when you haven't even done it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what it really looks like is, man, develop some high character and real tangible, valuable skills to the marketplace. There's just no shortcuts. You have to take that route. You have to become, the marketplace doesn't care who you are. It cares about, can you offer 10 times value than what you're selling it for? And then when you can accomplish that, then that's how you win. And, yeah, man, it was crazy though. But to sum it all up though, man, every time I tried to collaborate with an entrepreneur, man, or anybody, nobody took me seriously. I was just this ex-convict turned entrepreneur afterthought that nobody gave the time of day to. And I was pissed, man. And it was out of that pain and frustration is the reason why I launched Underdog Empowerment Podcast in the first place, for selfish reasons, first and foremost, to, you can't fill up a cup from an empty cup, and also empower other underdogs in the process. But I wanted to break through that mold, break through that judgment that people were keeping me in. And it was crazy, man. We ranked it on the third day and then had Billie Gina's marketing the following week. And it's just been insane ever since.
Man, that's incredible. Yeah. And so, I know that you invest heavily because I see you going out to masterminds all the time and promoting and talking about that and just investing in yourself, investing back in your business, continuing to grow, continuing to get a little bit better. But I want to, talk, championship leadership. Was there anyone inside of prison that impacted you that was like, hey man, this is not the path? I'm just curious, like, did you run into anyone like that, a coach, a mentor, somebody that was like, dude, when you get out, like, or maybe showed you the ropes or kind of taught you a few things from your time and experience there? Curious to hear if there was anyone like that inside of that experience.
I've never been asked that question before on a podcast. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it. But no and yes. So like there was people in there that, were like in the same point as me, like they're tired, they're done, and they're ready for change. And, some of them that had, their head on their shoulders and might have came back for, something that obviously they did it to themselves, but they might have came back for like some type of violation, like that wasn't like as serious, and they still got sent back to prison or whatnot, but they, they wanted to be in their kids' life, whatever the case may be. So there was good people in there is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
And people that were making better decisions. However, I didn't really have like a mentor, so to speak, in there from prison or afterwards, but I'm so into mentorship, man. It's been a game changer for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Who are some of the people that stand out to you? Like, and, it's whenever I ask this question, it's always really less about who it is. But if you feel, you talk to some Navy SEALs and they're like, well, I can't tell you who it is, but like, I'm like, no, that's cool. Like, more importantly, what was it about them that you learned, that you've taken, that you've maybe, we all are impacted and reached by different people along the way, and it kind of helps mold who we are and who we become. So I'm just curious, give them a shout out if you want, but really more importantly, like, what are some of the biggest things that you've taken from some of the mentors, coaches, leaders that have impacted you?
Yeah, man. One, I would give a shout out to Mitch Miller. I joined his mastermind, and dude, this is totally off topic, but it's real quick. I'm all about the burning the boats and going all in on your dreams. Some people are like, oh, that's stupid, blah, blah, blah. But no, dude, when you do that, like when your back's against the wall, there's no place to go is forward. And to make a really ridiculously long story short, I was backed up on all my bills. Our water was shut off. We got 4 kids, credit maxed out. Man, it was a really tough, stressful time.
Yeah.
And I went and got a title loan on my Chrysler Aspen to get in Mitch Miller's mastermind group so that I can learn how to select my audience, craft a compelling offer to that audience, and write the copy for that offer to that audience. And interest rates on a title loan are pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous,
No
bro.
doubt, man.
And a lot of people would probably say, that's a dumb decision. But 8 months later, I had a 6-figure business as a result of that decision of burning
Yeah.
those boats. So, I got to give a shout out to Mitch Miller because I learned a lot as far as that goes. But the best thing that I learned from him was I used to not say certain things on the internet that were true to me because I was worried about offending someone, and as a result, nobody taking me seriously as an entrepreneur, not being able to feed my family any other way.
Yeah. Like what?
Like I used to wear suits, for an example, bro. Like
Okay.
not knocking suits at all, but bro, I got a body full of tattoos and a
Yeah, man.
beard.
That's, doesn't seem like you. That's for sure.
It's not, and it wasn't. I used to rock suits all the time, and I used to fake like I was positive all the time, and all this crap, dude. And what Mitch Miller kind of hit me to, like, the works of Carl Jung and whatnot, and your shadow self, and like just if you really want to help somebody, if you truly have that thought of really wanting to help other people, that's
Yeah.
your intention, then making those people happy it doesn't equal helping them. And a lot of times, like I always go back to the example, you give a kid candy, you make that kid happy, but if you give kid candy all the time, are you doing good for that kid? No,
Right.
sir. That kid can get diabetes, get overweight, die, all that stuff because you give him candy, but you're making it happy. So, he helped me realize that and unlock that part to where I'll just say whatever the fuck I feel now. And
Yeah.
it's going to piss some people off, but guess what? No matter what you say, no matter who you are, at the end of the day, there's going to be people that hate you for it and people that love you. So it's just always easier being yourself in the process.
Yeah. And if you're trying to appease everyone, man, you just like, you don't help, and you're not helping anybody, right? You don't have a space, you don't have a niche. And that's a hard thing for people to comprehend and to really actually implement. So I know, you definitely do that. You definitely own that, but especially entrepreneurs, business owners, I think, because most people, like, right, we all like people, and we all want to help people, and that's why we're in this. We're in this business, in a business on our own, is for some of that. And so to take that bold stand, kind of like what you're talking about, and just being you, it does alienate people. And the thought of that, I think, is hard for a lot of people, and that's why they don't really take that next step. So that's huge.
Yeah, man. And but at the end of the day, though, you're gonna alienate people no matter what you say.
Yeah,
We might as well
that's the
just
truth.
alienate the right
Right.
ones,
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and it just makes the ones that are following you just like bigger, harder, more raving fans, right? When they see you taking that bold stand for them that they can identify with. So definitely some nuggets there. What's a vision for you, man? You're early. You're still early on in this journey. Like, yeah, what do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish over, even say just the next 5 years?
Love it, man. So I'm a firm believer, and I learned this in network marketing. It's stuck with me ever since. One of my mentors, like, he stole the Zig Ziglar quote, but it was powerful. It was the first time I ever heard it. I didn't know it was from Zig Ziglar, but so you're writing down your goal, because I was trying to get to the next level in my business. I was making like almost $2,000 a month, and I was trying to figure it out. It's like, well, you're writing down your goals every day? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And I was like, oh, dude, that's. And so ever since that day, like, literally, I know we're on the podcast, but the video version, there's my goals right there. I won't go to bed without writing those out. But even more so, like, if I look over here to the right, I got my vision board of a visual representation of every single area of my life of what I want. And so for me, I have a super long-term vision, but if you're talking about next 5 years.
What's a long-term vision, man?
All right, this is the legacy goal. You got business goals, your health goals. This is the legacy goal. The legacy goal is a 9% recidivism rate nationwide. Now, what I mean by that is the recidivism is tracked on after 3 years from being released from prison. Do you come back or not? And so if you look at those rates nationwide, they're astronomically high. We have the highest recidivism rate in the world in the U.S. And it's a clear indicator that our system is broken. It's not working. Now, I'm not taking away the responsibility for the people that put themselves in prison. That is their damn fault. They put themselves there. It's also on them to get themselves out.
Right.
However, though, man, the resources that are offered are bullshit, bro. I went through the system myself, man. It doesn't help. It actually makes things worse because now you're stuck going to all these stupid ass classes that don't even help and just drive you crazy for the most part. And it's hard, you got to catch a bus to get these classes, and you can't even get a job when you come out of prison anyway. So now it's taking away the time that you could be finding some employment or whatever to feed your family. And so, and then all the other resources, the whole system, it teaches you to be dependent on the system. Literally, it teaches you to, it gives you a fish. It doesn't teach you to fish. Welfare, food stamps, all that shit. That's not teaching you how to fish. So the vision, man, is to the guys and gals that are serious about turning their life around. Like I was, not everyone is, but the ones that are, we take them on in our program, and they work for us right out the gate. They have money right out the gate, and then they get real resources that are going to build their character and they're going to develop themselves. And then, for the people that are cut out to be entrepreneurs, boom, they won't need our help for long. And the ones that aren't, they can get a pay raise and continue working for us. And so that's the ultimate vision we're working towards. 9% recidivism rate or lower. It's a crazy goal, but that's what we're sticking to.
I love it, man. That's huge. That's incredible. What is the recidivism rate right now? Do you know?
So it's different in every state. And so, like, the last reports that you could dig up on the internet, unless there's another way to dig deeper. And if you do know, let me know, because I'd love to see this information. But in Missouri alone, the last reports, I believe, was 2014, and the recidivism rate was like 47 or 48, somewhere around there. And so if you think about that, though, too, man, that's skewed. It's even worse than that, because
it's probably worse, right? Yeah,
way worse, because it only tracks after 3 years. So what happens to the guys that come back to prison after 5? And then on top of that, what about the guys and gals that are getting out of prison and dying from a heroin overdose or getting killed or whatever? It doesn't factor in all that shit. So if you factor in like a failed system, it's probably like closer to 70 and 80 and 90%.
Yeah. Wow. I love it, man. I love that you're passionate about that. You've had that personal experience, and you want to help others not experience that. And
but I also want to do it in a way where we're not making excuses for them. We're just giving them a better runway to make something of themselves.
Yeah, no doubt. I love it. What is, I always talk about these turning points or critical decisions, moments that people have where, I imagine there's a few for you, definitely, for sure. I know we all have them, and some of the listeners are probably going through that right now, where they're just like at that point where, I don't know, like I could either go left or right. Most people tell me to go left, but I feel like, man, I got to go right. Like it's kind of like you, like all the chips are on the table. You're getting a title loan to go to a mastermind. Like most people would be like, what the hell are you doing, man?
Right.
And so that's definitely one of them, I can imagine. But yeah, there's people right now that are trying to figure it out. And I think too many choose that, what's the quote unquote safe, or just in my mind, more the settling, right? The settling decision, where they settle and they just kind of, eventually they're going to look back and be like, man, with a ton of regret, wishing they would have went the path you did. Like you had the courage and you took that step. What is a moment that you could share with us where that was going on for you?
Yeah, man. So this moment is the moment that defined like my character, I believe. I know. And it's what I draw on whenever I face any type of adversity or anything. It's like how I know I'm going to be able to be all right in any situation now. But I was in the hole, right? And this was 2010. The hole was the prison inside of the prison. I had been locked up for 2 years at this point. I did 4 years total at this time, then got out for 2 years and went back. But anyways, was in there for some tattoo violations. Well, I get called back to the captain's office. He's, sitting behind his desk with his white shirt, gold badge, black hat, me mug on his face. When you come back to the captain's office, it's not good.
Right?
Yeah. And usually I'm like, what I'm thinking in my mind right now is like, man, somebody told on me for something that I hadn't gotten in trouble for yet, or they're trying to get me to tell on somebody else. And I'm 21 at the time, bro. And I wasn't ready for change. And like, I was in my rebellious stage, like hardcore.
Yeah.
And so he's like, Mr. Babcock, I have a seat. And I'm like, dude, I ain't got nothing to say. Put me back in my cell. And he's like, when you come back here, it's not good, right? And I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck. Put me back in my cell. You got me down here for 2 months, and then you got to put me back on the main prison yard, man. I ain't got shit to say, dude. Put me back. And he said, yeah, we got a call over the weekend, man. And your mom informed us that she found your sister dead on the floor with a needle in her arm in the bathroom. She had to break in with a screwdriver. And I'm like, dude, like last thing I'm expecting to hear.
Yeah.
Immediately just tears start flooding through my face. And they gave me a 30-second phone call, legit 30 seconds. I'm bawling my eyes out to my mom. She's bawling her eyes out to me. And then the phone hangs up.
Yeah.
And then I have to be put in a cell, man. And this piece right here, I feel like it's going to be really valuable to your audience, man. I swear this is powerful right here. But I go back in the cell, and I'm sitting for the next 3 days. I don't get out of my bed to eat. The only time I got out of my bed was to use the restroom. Other than that, I'm in my bed crying my eyes out, thinking about all the mean things I ever said or did to my sister and the goodbye that I never get to tell her. And, man, I woke up, though, on that third day, Nate, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm still here. I don't know what the reason of why I'm still breathing, but there's got to be a reason or else I wouldn't be alive. What can I do right now to find happiness and peace? And that question, like, was the game changer because, like, dude, let me fast. All right, I'm gonna come back to that bit. Yeah. That question, it got me to focus on, I couldn't do much. I'm sitting here trapped in an 8x10 cell. I could walk 3 steps one way, 3 steps the next. It's dark, dirty, depressing, cold, no cellie, just me in there. And so it got me to focus on, okay, well, I can't break through this door, and I put myself in here. I'm stuck in here for the next 60 days. What can I do though? Oh, I can clean this area and scrub every single last piece of it, like OCD style, for real. Yeah. And I could work out and do my push-ups, dips off the bunk. I could read literature. I can write letters, and I could just have this whole entire schedule or whatever and dominate my own space. And it was crazy, man. But at the end of that 2 months, by doing all these things, I found a peace of mind at a really dark time. And to tie this together, though, man, at that time in my life, I didn't know what self-help books even were. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know that was a thing. And I know a lot of people like knock Tony Robbins, and they say like, oh, he's just in it for the money. Dude, the amount of money he makes through all his self-help stuff is a drop in a bucket compared to what he makes through his investments and real estate and all that. You know what I mean? The dude's a real deal. How I know he's a real deal is when I read his book, though, 7 years later in 2017, Awaken the Giant Within. He says in there, he's like, because I didn't know this, but when he said this, like, oh, that's what happened. But he said, questions, they get you to focus on things. Like if I say, Nate, what color are your shoes? Everybody listening to this podcast, you and me are both thinking about what the color of your shoes are. Because when you hear a question, no matter what, you immediately search for the answer. And so when we get in those really dark times, that when it feels like the world's crumbling around us, when there's no light at the end of the tunnel, a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, I've done this before, we ask the wrong questions. We say, well, why does this always got to happen to me? Or, and that's getting you to focus and search for the wrong answers versus what can I do right now to find happiness and peace? Or what's the next best step that I can take to reach my goal? That's asking the right questions because it gets you to focus on the right answers. And yeah, I know that was a long-winded answer, but I felt like that was
an awesome answer, man. Yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And so powerful. Yeah, I mean, powerful questions, right? Just to change the questions, like ask different questions, ask just these powerful questions that shift perspective completely, which is exactly what happened for you, man. And you figured it out like on your own. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you have any beliefs or anything, but some might look at that as God or whatever, but just for that to come to you on your own, and in that environment, so many people would not be able to do that. And just the powerful, nothing happened, right? It was just simply a thought that you had that shifted that for you.
Yeah, I was crazy, man. It's like I was just searching for something, because I was like, man, I was in such grief, and whatnot. But now, like, I'll have bad days now, and I'll start, like, fuck or whatever. And like, dude, why is it, and then I'll have to catch myself.
Right.
And then,
Yeah.
like, dude, you've made this through worse. You know what to do. And then I'm like, well, what can you do right now? What's the, what power do you have over this? And what's the next best thing you could do?
Yeah.
And
That's huge.
sometimes it's hard because you're pissed off. Things aren't,
Sure.
you're having a shit day, but man, next time you're having one, if you think about that, I promise you that's a game changer right there.
Yeah. I love it, man. Thank you. I want to respect your time here. So we'll wrap it up. Like, what are one or two things that you could share with the listeners that they could take and just implement right away today and move themselves forward?
Yeah. One, as far as the business side, man, there is no shortcuts. There's literally no magical formula. You're going to have to do the work, man. I know this is an unsexy answer, but
no magic pill, man. Come on.
None. There's zero. And if that's what you're looking for, this probably is the best podcast for you. And I'm definitely not the best guy for you either. But man, quit trying to focus on making money. I used to always be like, man, how can I make some money? How can I make? And that's the wrong question.
Wrong question. I love it.
Switch that question to, how can I become so fucking valuable that people throw money at me?
Yeah.
And then that's when you focus on that, then you focus on actually building real skills that people actually pay money for, and you're focused on helping people. So focus on how can you help people? How can you become valuable? Second takeaway would be, from more of a personal development standpoint, this might be cliche or whatever, but this is something I live my life by. But if you go into every single thing, every single situation, even if you're just like dealing with a shitbag person that's just like driving you crazy, right? If you go into this with this mindset of everything is your fault and everything wrong is your fault and everything right is your fault, that gives you complete freedom to dictate circumstances. And now some people are like, well, that's not true in every case, man. Like a tornado could come through and wreck my house and kill my family, and I don't have any control over that. You're right. You cannot stop that tornado from coming through and wrecking your house, right? And so you could either decide to be bitter about that and be miserable and go kill people or kill yourself or just live the rest of your life miserable, or you could choose to internalize that, become a stronger person, and go out and help people as a result of that, regardless of whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, whatever it is, regardless of whatever it is you chose to do, it's your power to make that decision on how you choose to respond to that. So if you think about it that way, you do have the power in every single situation, which means everything wrong in your life is your fault and everything right in your life is your fault. And that just gives you all the freedom in the world.
Yeah. Amen, man. Appreciate it. What are some ways that they can find you, follow you? What you got going on?
Dude, the best place obviously is the podcast. I'm really passionate about that. If you guys want to check that out, that is at Underdog Empowerment. It's on any podcast platform that you listen to podcasts to. But to make it really simple for you, you can go to underdogempowerment.com, and you might have to scroll down just a tad, but there's a little subscribe button for iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, whatever. Hope to see you guys over there. And Nate, thanks again for having me on your show, man.
You bet, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.